Hello and welcome to the League One predictions from the Honest Football Podcast. I'm a returning Craig Savage, and with me, as always, is Mr. Daniel Cody. Today, we're also going to do the League One predictions where 2014 teams battle it out to join the second tier of English football, the Championship. Unfortunately, four teams will have to leave to join League Two. So today, we're also going to do the top two, the playoff spots, and the bottom four. So if your team's from 7th to 20th, and we don't mention your team, you're safe. You're in League One still for the next season.
And I will be nice again like last year, and I'll put the blog with my notes up on the blog page and link it so people can see where we actually put them in the middle of the table as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. These predictions are just predictions. They're fun. Please don't take it seriously. Be nice in the comments.
And
It's
and
just a
there's
hum's bit
there's
of fun.
6 weeks before the end of the transfer window. Give us a break.
Anything can happen in this prediction in the league, and 9 out of 10 times we get it wrong. So
But we
it
did all
probably
right last year in League One
we
and
did it
Two.
right. We did League One and Two Championship. Very bad, very bad. So let's start off with the bottom four. Starting off, who will finish bottom of League One? Starting with Mr. Daniel Cody.
I'm really sorry in advance, but I've had to go for the obvious, and it's actually to give a bit of a spoiler for the rest. It's the only of the promoted clubs I think are going to be in big trouble, and I've gone for AFC Wimbledon just because. Look, it was a great effort for them to win the playoffs. They had the best defensive record in the league, despite the fact I went to their opening game last season. They were two down in 10 minutes. I'll be seeing them on the first day of this season as well, where hopefully they concede a few more. But the goals column needs some work. They struggled for goals last season. They were so over reliant on Matty Stevens. They've lost the likes of Josh Neuville to a fellow promoted side, a player we know well, obviously. James Tilley's gone to another League One club too. So I just feel they're going to need to add creativity. They're going to need to add a second prong to the goal scoring threat at the very least. And while they've got solid pros throughout the spine of the team and in defensive areas, I don't see that they're going to score enough goals to stay up. So on that basis, I've put them 24th. I'm not convinced they'll actually finish bottom, but I think as it stands, they look like strong contenders for the bottom four.
Yeah, I've gone the same way. I've gone AFC Wimbledon in 24th. I like AFC Wimbledon. They did obviously amazing. Obviously got promoted last season, so it'd be tough. It'd be very, very tough. It's a very strong league this year anyway, so they could focus on teams that they know that would be down at the bottom of League One to try and get those points in. And then obviously, say not worry about the big teams, but if you can sneak a point or a couple of points there, then you can be there. But I don't think they will, which is a shame because I really like Wimbledon, but sadly in 24th place. 23rd.
Well, you mentioned the fact that the league is probably a lot more tightly matched this year across the division rather than having sort of a split in the middle. And that's why I've gone for a couple of sides to sort of drift downwards a bit. And the first of those, I'm afraid, is Exeter City because while they've added a few good young players to the squad, I worry. I look at the transfer window so far, and I don't think they've gone forward as much as other clubs. If anything, I think they've probably not improved the squad a great deal so far. Obviously, as we've mentioned, there's 6 weeks for that to change, and it's really hard to predict with this season starting so early. The 1st of August is the earliest since we started doing these prediction shows, but I think without a big finish to the transfer window or a little bit of luck, I just think they didn't finish last year that great and they'll probably drift a bit more. So I've gone for them in 23rd place, but it's so hard to call this early on.
Yeah, very hard to call. I've gone for Northampton Town as a 23rd place. This could be a big struggle for them this season. They've obviously gone down a couple of places, obviously, the last few years. Big Kevin Nolan's in charge there. Obviously, he had that good spell when he was at Notts County. Unfortunately, he didn't get promoted that time from Coventry, I believe. They lost in semi-finals to Coventry. The same time
Yeah.
when Luton got promoted that season, League Two. So it's a long time for him to get back into management. Yes, he's been David Moyes' number two at West Ham, but to be the solo man, I think it'd be quite tough. Losing a couple of players as well over the summer, it's not ideal. I don't think they've got a strong enough squad. So Northampton for 23rd. 22nd place?
I've gone for another of the sides that have drifted down the division in recent seasons, and the next one for me is Burton Albion because it's another year where they've had a large turnover of players. But I guess you would argue after last year they probably needed it this time. I guess the reason I've gone for here is if it wasn't for Scott Lindsay rejoining Crawley really late last year and almost pulling off the miracle, if he'd got there a couple of weeks earlier, Burton probably would be in League Two now anyway. They got away with it in the end. So they have brought in some players that have got a bit of a point to prove. Fabio Tavares was once talked about as a brilliant young player at Coventry. Jake Beasley could add a bit of firepower as well, but I just think defensively they're not quite strong enough. They've not got a lot of consistency in the team, and they haven't for a number of years. And I just feel they're going to keep drifting. It's hard to call because there are a few sides down there that are pretty evenly matched, but you just feel that momentum are with the promoted sides. There are a couple of others that are slightly stronger, and Burton for me as a result might just drift into that relegation zone. So 22nd for me.
22nd for me as well for Burton Albion.
We didn't discuss this before, I
We have
promise.
not
It's a
discussed this.
surprise.
I think last year we pretty much did the same as well. No, but yeah, I don't know how Burton's Albion survived. They were down and out back in February, March, and they went on a great run. They got a good experienced manager in as well, and they pulled it off. I can't see him doing it again this year. I really, really don't. Obviously, there's a few weak teams, obviously at the bottom end of the league on last season. So yeah, sorry, 22nd place, just about. They just about go down as well. Compared to the 21st place, though, who have you got?
I found this one really difficult. I was fairly certain with the other three. Of the other promoted sides, I thought about Port Vale, but I couldn't do it with Darren Moore there. I did have Stevenage in the mix, which I won't be surprised if you say them in 21st again. And then my other two that I had just outside were Mansfield, who struggled again, conceding a lot last year, and then even more so on that front. I think Peterborough might be in trouble this year. You know, looking at their squad, they've lost a lot of attacking talent, a lot of players to Championship clubs, and they've still not signed a huge amount yet. So I almost put Peterborough in 21st, but in the end, despite the fact I'm a big fan of the manager, I've gone similar to you again. I've gone for Northampton just below them because it was a real struggle for them to score goals last year. They've added a bit of experience in attacking areas, so Mark Jacobs, Elliot List from Stevenage as well. But while they've improved the squad a little bit overall, they weren't safe by much last season. And it's a similar vein to Burton and Exeter. They're sides that last season struggled to stay above the dotted line comfortably or had pretty poor runs. And while I think with a couple more signings, Kevin Nolan could guide them to safety, and then I would put Peterborough in real trouble. As it stands at the moment with the current squads, I've edged for them above Peterborough into 21st place. But it could go anyway between those clubs, depending on what the next 6 weeks bring. But I'll stick with Northampton for now.
Yeah, 21st was quite tight for me. A few teams in there, as you said, Mansfield, Rotherham. I feel that might struggle as well.
They'll be interesting, yeah.
There was another
Oh,
team, Peterborough. Yeah, you said Peterborough was quite
are we just
quite
delaying you
surprising
saying
me.
Stevenage here, are we?
Yes, I am because it is Steve. It's not a vendetta. I'm telling you now, it's not a vendetta. I just think they're getting worse and worse. They peaked when Steve Evans was in charge. They had that. They could have been in the playoffs. Steve Evans went off, obviously off to Rotherham, and Alex Ravel took over. And they're pushing above their weight, Stevenage. To be fair
That's
to
true.
them, and that's not being disrespectful. It's you've got a small ground. Budget's not going to really be there. Um, and they are punching above their weight. And sometimes you get that moment where it might be just a bit too much. And I kind of said that about Wrexham last year, and then obviously look at Wrexham, um, Disney Plus that they sold that in comment. So yeah, I think Stevenage will go down on the final day.
I thought about it.
Right,
They scored 14 goals away from home last year, which is not a recipe for success in any book, is it?
that's somehow worse than Luton's away record last season.
Which is a miracle in itself.
So they lost 11 straight or 12 straight. Um, okay, let's move up the table to the playoffs. Let's start off with sixth place.
It's a pretty similar story to the bottom, actually. I was fairly settled with five of the six, and then I struggled with sixth place. And I sort of again had it between five teams. So I'll give you the ones that missed out slightly, which were Steve Bruce at Blackpool, who I think will be close again. Reading, new ownership, they were up there last year, did really well. Maybe just 1 year too soon, but great news for them to have stability off the pitch again.
Absolutely.
Leighton Orient were in there last year, did really well. They're close, but they've lost a couple of players and rumoured to lose one or two more. And the big shock I'm going to have, because I'm pretty sure they'll be in your top six, is my other one missing out on the playoffs is Cardiff, who have just had a bit of a stinker of a summer so far. So let's wait and see where they are in 6 weeks. So in sixth place is my wild card and the one that I'm sure I'll get the most stick for out of all of this. I've gone for a flying turnaround for Wigan Athletic with Ryan Lowe. So despite having, and it's got to be said here, they struggled for goals last year. They had the joint best defensive record outside the top two in the whole league. So they've got the ingredients there to be successful. They really
Well,
struggle.
they've got the striker now to get the
Exactly.
goals.
Exactly. They really struggled going forward last year, but they've added Paul Mullin, of course, from Wrexham, who scored at this level before, Christian Sadie from Pompey, who was a threat at times at championship level, and Dara Costello as a young attacking winger. They've added three players to directly address that area. I know we often talked about how boring Preston were at times under Ryan Lowe, but they're good at being boring, Wigan. They just need to add some goals, and they look like they've done it. So on paper, if they can keep two of those three fit most of the season, I think they'll fly up the division because the rest of it is still in a good place, and they just needed to add goals, which I think they've done. So Wigan are going to sneak in a top six for me.
Can't all rely on Mullin. We've noticed that. We can't all rely on Mullin. Uh, my sixth place is Lincoln City. Um, very good back end of last season, really. James Collins came in during the January window and scored quite a few goals. The recruitment has been actually excellent. I know their head scout left to go to Luton, well, return to Luton, should I say? But they still make some good signs regardless. And if they keep that balance of how they play, they will be up there. I think if they had obviously the amount of goals that James Collins had in the end at the start of last season, they could have pushed for the playoffs. So Lincoln will be a very tough place to go to since the bank this season. So will not rule out and they'd be my dark horse for the playoffs.
And you know their favourite signing of the summer is Sonny Bradley, don't you? So which is what partly why you've
And
gone for them.
yeah, so it's just second. You got experienced players. Sonny Bradley's been there and done it. He's won League One before. He's got the playoffs, championship. He didn't really play much in the second half of that season, but it's not the point. He's got the experience. Collins is obviously golden boot I know it's 5, 6 years ago, but it's not the point. You've got experienced players in there.
Yeah.
No, been there and done it. So if they can get them two experienced players, gelling with obviously the younger ones, they'll be right up there. Right, fifth place.
Well, we're all already more different than last year because I've not got Lincoln in my top six despite that. Um, but in my fifth place, I wonder if this will surprise you. I've gone for Luton Town in fifth. I
Okay.
know they're the bookies' favourites, but if you
Okay.
remember, Craig, we were sat here just under 12 months ago and we put them second in the
Ah,
championship. So, let's not judge too quickly. I don't really know where to start with this one. Last year was a calamity, and I think if we went and talked about it, this 40-minute meeting would end before we got to fourth place. So I'm just going to leave it where it was. We talked about it enough in the championship predictions last year. Two successive relegations. Obviously, me and you had the misfortune of watching an awful lot of it, and a lot went wrong. It's been a very busy summer. A lot of the old stalwarts have moved on from the club. I think there will probably be more going out before the end of the window based on some of the ones left on the wage bill. You would imagine, looking at the signings so far, that Bloomfield's going to change to his preferred shape. We're going to see a back four a lot of this season potentially. Something he tried to do initially when he came in. But the problem again in pre-season, injuries are piling up again. It's been the same old problem for Luton there. There's something not quite right off the pitch there. However, I'd expect there to be a bit more change before the end of the window. The club haven't made the same mistake. They've gone out and addressed the situation quickly, got people in, but I'm not confident enough to put them in the top two. I've been stung a bit by last season. I do think there are a couple of stronger squads in League One at the moment, and I worry that Luton will lose a few of the players that would make them the strongest squad at the minute. So I'm going against my bias and I'm sticking with fifth place. I hope I'm wrong for the right reasons this time.
yeah, I don't think there'll be a third successive relegation. I really, really doubt it.
Don't say it.
No, that clip's going to take out of context. Fifth place for me is Leighton Orient. I know they've lost the goalkeeper. He was only on loan. I know they lost Kelman, who scored a hatful of goals. He was on loan, but they've got a manager that's worked really hard to bounce back from previous jobs. Didn't really get a fair chance at Salford. And he's taken this League One club, a very well run League One club, and they got in with a game of being in the Championship. All right, their first goal was offside in that semi final, and that's not their fault. It's
That was chaotic to say the least. That
that was
semi-final, wasn't it?
that was pathetic, but they had a very good season last season. Obviously, came close against Manchester City in the FA Cup. It's always going to be hard for them to reciprocate what they did last season because no one would put Leighton Orient in that top six. No one, and not even Leighton Orient fans. But if they can keep that, obviously with it different players in it, they can be up there again. It's just it will be tough. It will take some time for them to gel. It will be a slow start for Leighton Orient. So that's I think they've got to be a bit more be realistic. Like, okay, we overachieved last year, but let's put our feet on the ground and let's build up. And they could get a late push into the playoffs again. Fourth.
Fourth place. It's ironic. At the start of the summer, before the managerial merry-go-round got going, they would have been my shoo-ins to win the league this year, had the manager stayed from the end of last season. And I'm, of course, talking about Plymouth Argyle, because Miron Muslic did a very good job when he went in at Plymouth, took them on an FA Cup run. They would have been safe, of course, but the club paid for going for the commercial appointment in the summer and then clinging on for a bit too long. Obviously, he's gone off to Schalke. I know a few fans are upset because of the loyalty and talking about building at Plymouth, but it's a huge job that he's been given the opportunity to take. But their persistence last season cost them. They can't complain too much. They lost goals of Ryan Hardy, who was crucial last time they came up. A couple of regulars from the defence have gone, but that might not be as bad of a thing given their record last year. Interesting signings from UK and Europe. Lots of focus on younger players again. But the big question this season is how's Tom Cleverley going to do? Because he started well at Watford. They drifted massively towards the end of last season, actually swapped form with Plymouth. They were relegation contenders based on their last 6 months of the year. It's just whether he can get redemption, whether he can find consistency. I was really torn on it because I think they've got the potential to be a top two squad, and I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm just not certain enough with the current manager yet. So I'm going to go for fourth place for Plymouth, but I think that's probably the lowest they would finish.
I've gone for Huddersfield Town in fourth place. The reason why I haven't put them in the top two is because we don't know how Lee Grant is going to be. This is his first managerial job. It's his a risk. It can either go amazingly well or amazingly bad. You just don't know. They have recruited well over the summer. Let's be honest, but I'm very skeptical on Lee Grant. Is he going to play the same way that he's learned from Kieran McKenna when he was at Ipswich, or does he have his own style? We just don't know yet. So it's going to be a tough test in a few weeks, opening a few games for Huddersfield and for Lee Grant. Because if he gets on that bad run, he's going to think like any rookie manager would want to do. He's trying to throw things at the wall and go from there. So for Huddersfield's sake, you don't really want that. They haven't spent a lot of money. They've got a few players on the free transfer, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm skeptical how they would be because it's a rookie manager. But yeah, still fourth. Right, third place. Who misses out on the top two?
Well, I will be honest and say I swapped this about half an hour ago, my third and second, and my third is your fourth. I've gone for Huddersfield Town, and it's the same sort of thing as you, gambling on an inexperienced manager in League Grant, but then that's counteracted by the squad, which, if I'm being honest, on paper, I think they've got the strongest squad in the division as we record this episode. I think they've signed really well. Obviously, Alfie May scored goals for Birmingham last year as they won the league at a canter. You're adding
Harness as
people.
well, experience.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. You've added people like Harness, Wallace, Ledson, Gooch. It's not League One experience, it's Championship experience. It's people that have won promotion from the level above or been involved in playoff chases at that level. So there's so much quality in the squad. But with that is going to come expectation because they're already what the second favourites for promotion now, above some of the relegated clubs. If they don't then get off to a flying start, and they've got some interesting games in the first 6 weeks, will Lee Grant come under pressure? Will he get the opportunity? Will you then see a different style of manager come in? And as we so often see, then a completely different style, then another 6 games to get warmed up. I'm really not sure. I hope it works out for them because they've got a great squad on paper. They've recruited really well. But even though they've got the strongest squad in the division, I'm not putting them in the top two. Though I did only decide to swap that half an hour ago, which may be a regret in 9 months' time.
Well, your fourth is my third. So my third is Plymouth Argyle. I still think they're strong. Plymouth Argyle. Obviously,
Agree.
losing Mursic was a hammer blow, really, because when he took over from Rooney, he did get them going. He did pick up results. So you had to give him credit. Obviously, different manager, Cleverly. I don't get the hype of Cleverly. I really don't. Because I feel bad in a way because it's Watford. Not because I'm a Luton fan. It's because we know how Watford play with managers, and they played all right football. They did play all right football, but as you said, the form dipped massively. But will he change his style a little bit to Plymouth? Maybe because it's different players. Don't get me wrong. Yes, losing Hardy's a blow, but they still got a very good squad. They're very good squad. So they'll just miss out to my second place team on the final day. So let's get on to the playoff winner. So let's start with you, Codes. You've got Huddersfield v Wigan and Plymouth versus Luton.
Oh, that's not worked out well for us. Right. I am gonna go. It's a great effort for Wigan to get to the top six, but Huddersfield would be too strong in my opinion. And then Luton, Plymouth, God, that could go anyway.
Luton do the
Um,
home tie first.
mm, and I think that could be costly because we saw what happened at Plymouth last year, even with Rooney in charge.
Oh God, that was
I
bad.
I go for third and fourth to win. I hate to go against Luton, but I'm not confident at the minute, Craig, to be honest with you. So Plymouth Huddersfield would be my final.
And your winners?
See, if he doesn't start brilliantly, I'm not sure Lee Grant's in charge by then. So it depends on the manager. I'm going to go for Plymouth. I, I think I think they're the team I trust the most as a whole package at the moment. Even though I'm not completely sold on Cleverley, he's got EFL experience and Lee Grant hasn't. So Plymouth to beat Huddersfield in the final and Luton to miss out on that final. But then I can't deal with another Wembley playoff final, so that's fine by me.
My one is Plymouth versus Lincoln and
Ooh.
Huddersfield v Leighton Orient. I'm going to be with you here. I think I'm going to have a Plymouth Huddersfield final as well. But I think Huddersfield will go up via the playoffs. They'll beat Plymouth. Huddersfield got a very good record in the playoffs as well. So,
Tell you what, if we get the two finalists right, that'll be an interesting day for us, won't it?
oh god, yeah, oh god, yeah. But yeah, no, Huddersfield got a very good record in the playoffs. I
Yeah.
know they lost the last playoff final, thanks to John Moss, um, but yeah, normally they've got a very good record. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Huddersfield playoff win. I'm gonna guess.
We've
I
got the
think I
same
know
top
what.
two.
Well, no, we don't.
Oh,
No, we do not. But I think one of them is definitely in there.
yes.
So let's start with your second place.
Well, I reckon we've got the same top team, and my second is to give you a clue, the same mistake you made last year at the top end of the table. And I wonder if they're in your top six or not. And I've gone for Bolton Wanderers with Stephen Schumacher because, well, Stephen Schumacher is a very good coach, and I think that's my primary reason for it because they've had a bit of a strange summer so far. Again, at the start of the summer, to be honest with you, end of May, I went Plymouth, Bolton, that'll be it. But they've lost their top scorer. They've lost their captain from last season. They've lost other players, including some of the championship teams. They've not replaced them very quickly. The squad on paper doesn't look brilliant at the moment. The early confidence from pre-season for me is gone, but I still trust him to get it right and trust them to get it right. So I think it might be a slower start than initially feared. And I do worry about the fact that Bolton v Luton is the final game of the season at the start of May, which I will no doubt be at. But I'm still going to stick with Bolton in second, and it's purely because I think Steven Schumacher's a brilliant coach, and I think he'll get it right with them, even if it takes till October or November to hit top form.
Richie Kyle's at Bolton as well. So
Yeah.
a very good coach. My second place is the Hatters of Stockport. Um,
Oh,
no,
well, that means you've gone double hatters for sure then.
Hatters. No, I really like Stockport. Like they are the Luton of years ago where they're progressing every year, and it's they seem to have backing, and I just like it. I really do like it. Obviously, the manager's done remarkably well, and very unlucky to lose that playoff semi final on penalties. So they'll go from strength to strength. I'm a big fan. They will be right up there. Right, so I think that they're your winners.
They are my winners, and for much the same reason, to be honest. I thought they were excellent for much of last season. Obviously, it's great for us when we were growing up. They were a sort of a League One championship team or Division One, Division Two as it was then, and they narrowly missed out on a top two last year. They were very good going forward, but had a slightly poorer defensive record than the top two. They've addressed that this summer. Most of their early works in defensive areas. They've improved the squad again. Like you mentioned, they're just getting better and better every year. They've got a big fan base. They've got a strong backing behind them. There's a feel good factor. It's as simple as momentum, which even the clubs coming down and a lot of the others we mentioned about Huddersfield squad and that, there's not many clubs with big momentum in League One. And Stockport in a year where there's probably not that standout, big, lavish, expensive squad like you had at the top with Birmingham and Wrexham this time. I think Stockport have got a real opportunity. They only just missed out last year, and if they produce the same again, I think it'll be enough for them to go up, to be honest. So I'll have them as my winners, and I'm fairly confident they'll be in my top two.
Absolutely, absolutely. My winners are the Hatters of Luton. Yeah, no
You never learn.
bias,
Never
no
learn.
bias as well. Okay, yes, I remember my prediction last season was Luton being the top two in the Championship, and it was an absolute disaster. I haven't spoke about it. Obviously, I haven't been on the podcast since last season's predictions, and oh boy, oh boy, it was a tough one. I thought Luton would have stayed up. That momentum on the final day, I thought, yeah, we're gonna stay up. All we needed was a point in the end, and we absolutely bottled it.
Oh yeah. You
But
concede five, you can have no complaints.
oh no, no complaints. It hurt, but no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, I feel Matt's taken us in the right direction. I think some of the signs have been good. I think George Savage straight away is the first signing. Well, technically second signing because Naismith came back. Is a very good championship experienced player, and he's that lead that you really want him right in the heart of midfield. Naki Wells is a good one for experience, and it's the selling has been good as well. The right players have left, as much as some players that I love and that will always love, like Pelly. But it's the time to go. So yeah, obviously I think it'd be more young with pace, and also that's what Bloomfield done when he was at Wickham. Had players with pace that were going to be aggressive. I think yeah, the recruitment's been fine. Yes, there'll be outgoings, there'll be more incomings, but Luton will still be strong. There's still enough quality in that side to be up there, and that's why I'm going to pick them to win it. Let's have a recap of what we have predicted for the top two, the playoffs and the relegation zone. Let's start off with the relegation zone. 24th place, Daniel Cody's gone for Wimbledon. I've also gone for Wimbledon. 23rd, Cody's gone for Exeter. I've gone for Northampton Town. We've both gone for Burton in 22nd. And for 21st, Daniel Cody's gone for Northampton. I've gone for Stevenage. In the playoffs, Daniel Cody's going for Wigan in 6th with me, with Lincoln from my prediction. 5th place, Luton Town for Daniel Cody. Leighton Orient for myself. 4th place, Plymouth and Huddersfield for myself. And Daniel Cody's gone for Huddersfield in 3rd, and I've gone for Plymouth in 3rd. Daniel Cody's gone for Plymouth to win the playoffs, and I've gone for Huddersfield to win the playoffs, both in 4th place. The top two, in 2nd place, Daniel Cody's gone for Bolton. I've gone for Stockport, and Cody's gone for Stockport to win League One, and I've gone for Luton to win League One. So I had to win League One is our prediction. Yes, that is our prediction for League One. Do you agree with us or disagree with us? Let us know in the comments. Please be nice. It's just a harmless bit of fun. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this football podcast. You can follow us on all the socials, on X, on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Please give us a thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next prediction.